that's just a miracle in itself that he's made it this far, and he's just a normal teenage kid now. My name is Goff, and I'm the mother of Levi Goff, who is a multi-organ recipient. He received a small bowel, liver, and a pancreas transplant when he was 8 months old. When he was 2 weeks old, we ended up in the emergency room, got sent to University of Kentucky Children's Hospital. They did surgery because of a birth defect. He had some twisting of his intestines and lost all of his small intestines, which led him to need a transplant. He had the original surgery, and they left his bowel outside of his body so they could monitor it and see if maybe blood flow would be reestablished. I was up all night crying, praying with each other, just me and my husband, hoping, just praying that the gut would, pink it back up, it would get life back into it. And so we came back the following morning and it still looked the same, and then when the surgeon spoke to us the next day is when he gave us the option to let him pass away or do the transplant. So we knew we were facing a lot of obstacles to get to transplant, even if we were lucky enough to get to that point. So it was kind of a day-by-day thing, and we did end up in the hospital several times, and it was very difficult being away from family and being away from our other kids. The first 3 or 4 months, it was kind of like that. It was just a cycle of getting well enough, and then he'd end up with an infection or something, and we'd end up back in the hospital, and we'd stay there for a week to 2 weeks, and it was kind of like that for the first 3 or 4 months, where he was using TPN and lipids for his nutrition. His liver wasn't functioning that well, so his hemoglobin would just slowly start trending down, and we would have to go and pump him back up with a unit or two. That period between the initial and the transplant, we were probably back in the hospital a couple more times, just getting blood. After being on TPN and lipids, his liver began failing. He started turning jaundice. He was yellow. That was difficult to watch, because you knew that was a reminder daily that he's not well, that he's sick. So we were there already at Cincinnati, and his hemoglobin was kind of on the low side, so they decided we were going to get a blood transfusion, pump him back up with some blood, and then we could go back home. And while we were there, they actually called and told us that they had found organs for him. I will never forget that feeling. It's like shock and disbelief, because here we are thinking that we've still got a long ways to go before we ever are able to think about that happening, and he's getting sicker and sicker, and you just don't know if he's going to make it or not. We have since then met the donor mom and been able to, share Levi with her, at least a part of her daughter that she lost. She said when she saw Levi, then she knew she made the right choice. I'm very thankful that she did choose to donate in that time of her grief to help us get through what we were going through with Levi. I'm thankful that he's here, that I can actually, he learned to walk, he learned to talk, he learned to ride a bike, and he's learning to drive right now. Initially he had the lines with IV stuff, he still had feeding tube, he had the ileostomy. So all of that, after about 2 years, were all reversed. He just became just a normal kid, and so you don't always think about, oh my gosh, that's what he's went through, because you're not reminded of it daily.
I like to try to help someone because I got help and it saved me, so I like to try to do that.
When we first ended up that emergency room visit that first time, he had lost a lot of blood through his gut, and it came out through his bowels. I think that's what sparked us to start donating, and so we just kind of donate regularly, and then when his brothers got old enough, that was just something that they wanted to do. You have to be at least 16 before you can go and donate, so he was looking forward to turning 16 so he could start donating himself.
I've gotten shots a lot, so it wasn't too scary, but I was nervous. It was not much different than just getting my blood drawn.
I think it's awesome to see them being giving of themselves, and I think it's important to teach your children that it's important to give back to others that need it. Especially something that's important as blood. Sometimes it's not as critical as what it was with Levi, but we all need blood in our body. We need that to live, and it's such a small thing to do to make such a big impact in somebody's life. It's like a gift that just keeps on giving.